The transport ship landed with a low hum. Yuna grabbed her small bag and stood up from her seat. She was the only passenger getting off at this station. Through the window, she could see the massive building that would be her home for the next 2 years. The Galactic Combat Academy, the most famous military school in the known universe. She took a deep breath and walked toward the exit door. The air outside was different. It smelled clean but strange. The sky was purple here, not blue like Earth. 2 suns hung in the distance, one bigger than the other. Yuna had studied this planet before coming. It was called Velar 7, and it sat at the center of the Galactic Alliance. Students from over 50 different species came here to train, and now, for the first time in history, a human was joining them. Yuna walked across the landing area toward the main entrance. Her boots made soft sounds on the metal floor. She was not tall, she was not big. She looked ordinary in every way. Her black hair was tied back in a simple ponytail. Her eyes were dark and calm. She wore the standard gray uniform that the Academy had sent to Earth 3 months ago. As she approached the main gate, she saw other students walking around. Some of them were huge. One species had 4 arms and stood almost 3 meters tall. Another had blue skin and no eyes at all. A group of reptilian beings walked past her, their scales shining under the twin suns. They looked at her with confusion. One of them made a sound that might have been laughter. Yuna kept walking. The main entrance had a large scanner built into the doorway. Every student had to pass through it. The scanner would read their species, their home planet, and their basic physical data. This information would go into the Academy's system. Yuna stepped into the scanner. A blue light moved up and down her body. Then a loud voice spoke from the machine. It spoke in the common galactic language, which Yuna had learned over the past year. Species detected, human. Planet of origin, Earth. Gravity classification, high gravity world. Physical threat level, minimal. The words echoed across the entrance hall. Several students nearby turned to look. Some of them started making sounds. It took Yuna a moment to understand. They were laughing at her. Minimal threat? One of them said. It was a tall being with gray skin and long arms. They let minimal threats into this academy now? More laughter followed. Yuna said nothing. She walked through the scanner and continued toward the registration desk. A small creature with large eyes sat behind the desk. It looked at her with surprise. Human? It said. You are the human? Yes, Yuna said. I am here to register. The creature typed something into its computer. We received your application. The council approved it. But I must tell you, many people here think it was a mistake. Humans have never been to this academy before. Your species only joined the Galactic Alliance 5 years ago. Many believe you are not ready. I understand, Yuna said. The creature handed her a small card. This is your room assignment. Building 7, room 42. Your classes start tomorrow. Good luck, human. You will need it. Yuna took the card and walked away. Building 7 was on the far side of the campus. Yuna walked slowly, looking at everything around her. The academy was huge. There were training fields, simulation centers, weapons halls, and medical buildings. Students of all species walked between them. Some flew, some floated. Some moved on many legs. None of them looked like Yuna. She found Building 7 and went inside. The hallway was quiet. Most students were still in their afternoon classes. Yuna found room 42 and opened the door. The room was small but clean. There were 2 beds, 2 desks, and 2 storage units. One side of the room was already occupied. Bags and equipment sat on the bed. Strange symbols were written on the wall above it. Yuna put her bag on the empty bed and sat down. She looked out the window. The purple sky was turning darker now. Night was coming to Velar 7. The door opened behind her. Yuna turned to see her roommate. He was human. Yuna stood up quickly. She had not expected this. The creature at the registration desk had not mentioned another human. The young man looked just as surprised as she did. He was about her age, maybe a year older. He had short black hair and tired eyes. He was thin but not weak. He carried a bag of training equipment over his shoulder. "You are human," he said. "Yes," Yuna said. "So are you." He nodded slowly. "My name is Do-Hyun. I arrived 3 days ago. I thought I was the only one. I am Yuna. I just arrived today." Do-Hyun put down his bag. He looked at her carefully. "Did the scanner call you a minimal threat too?" "Yes." "Everyone laughed at me when it happened," Do-Hyun said. "The instructor made a joke about it in front of the whole class." Yuna sat back down on her bed. "I expected this. Humans are new to the galaxy. They do not know what we are capable of." Do-Hyun sat on his own bed across from her. "I have been here 3 days. They do not respect us. They think we are weak. They think Earth is a small, unimportant planet with soft creatures." "What do you think?" Yuna asked. Do-Hyun was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled, just a little. "I think they have never felt Earth's gravity. I think they do not understand what it means to grow up on a world that pulls you down with such force. Every step we take on Earth is harder than anything they experience. Our bones are dense. Our muscles are strong. We just do not look like it." Yuna nodded. "Then we will show them." "It will not be easy," Do-Hyun said. "The instructor here, his name is Cavell. He is a reptilian from a low-gravity moon. He is big and fast, but he has never trained on a heavy world. He hates humans. He thinks we do not belong here." "Then he will learn," Yuna said. Outside, the twin suns finally set. The purple sky turned black, filled with unfamiliar stars. Somewhere in that darkness, far away, was Earth. Yuna looked at those stars and made a quiet promise. She would make them remember her name. She would make them respect her species. And she would never let anyone call her a minimal threat again. The first week was hard. The second week was harder. By the third week, Yuna had learned to ignore the laughter. Every morning began the same way. She woke up early, put on her training uniform, and walked to the main hall with Do-Hyun. Other students watched them pass. Some whispered, some pointed. A few made jokes loud enough for them to hear. "Look, the soft ones are awake. How did they even survive the trip here? Minimal threat level. That is what the scanner said. Minimal." Yuna kept her eyes forward. She did not respond. She did not show any emotion. She just walked. The classes were difficult, but not impossible. Combat theory, weapons training, physical conditioning, strategic planning. Yuna understood the lessons. She performed the exercises. She completed every task that was asked of her. But it was never enough. Instructor Cavell made sure of that. Cavell was the head combat instructor. He was a reptilian from a moon called Serath. His species was known for their speed and their sharp claws. He stood over 2 meters tall, with dark green scales and yellow eyes. When he spoke, his voice was like rocks grinding together. And he hated humans. "Today we will practice basic defense," Cavell said during the morning class. He walked back and forth in front of the students. There were about 40 of them in this group. Yuna and Do-Hyun stood at the back. Cavell stopped walking. His yellow eyes found Yuna. "Human," he said, "come to the front." Yuna walked forward. She could feel everyone watching her. She stood before Cavell and waited. "The scanner says you are a minimal threat," Cavell said. "Do you agree with this?" Yuna did not answer immediately. She thought about her words carefully. "The scanner measures what it can see," she said. "It does not measure everything." Cavell made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Interesting answer. But wrong. The scanner is very accurate. It has measured thousands of species over hundreds of years. When it says you are weak, you are weak." He turned to the other students. "This is why humans are not respected in the galaxy. They come from a small planet on the edge of nowhere. They have no natural weapons, no claws, No armor, no venom. They are slow, soft, and fragile. The students laughed. Some of them nodded in agreement. Yuna stood still. Her face showed nothing. Cavell turned back to her. You may return to your place, human. Try not to fall down on the way. More laughter. Yuna walked back to stand beside Do-Yun. He looked at her with worried eyes. She gave him a small nod. She was fine. But inside, something was building. The days continued. Cavell found new ways to make her life difficult. He called on her for every demonstration. He made her run extra laps. He criticized everything she did, even when she did it correctly. Your form is wrong, human. Your speed is too slow, human. Your strength is not enough, human. Other students started copying his behavior. They bumped into her in the hallways. They took her equipment. They left unpleasant things in her locker. Yuna cleaned up each mess. She retrieved her stolen items. She fixed whatever they broke. And she never complained. Do-Hyun noticed everything. He often stayed close to her, trying to protect her from the worst of it. But Yuna told him to focus on his own training. I can handle this, she said. They are trying to break you, Do-Hyun replied. They want you to quit. Then they will be disappointed. One evening, Yuna sat alone in the training room. Everyone else had gone to dinner. She practiced her forms slowly, moving through each position with careful control. Her body was tired, but she pushed through it. The door opened. 3 students walked in. They were from a species called the Volari. They had 4 arms each and stood much taller than Yuna. Their skin was pale blue, and their eyes were completely black. Look, one of them said, the human is still training. How sad. They walked closer. Yuna stopped her practice and turned to face them. You should go home, the second one said. This is not the place for your kind. You are embarrassing yourself. And you are embarrassing the academy, the third one added. Every time we see you, we are reminded that our standards have fallen. Yuna looked at them calmly. Are you finished? The first Volari stepped closer. He was much bigger than her. His 4 arms crossed over his chest. We could make you leave. It would be easy. No one would stop us. No one would care. Yuna did not step back. Try it. For a moment, no one moved. The Volari looked at each other. Something in Yuna's eyes made them hesitate. She was not afraid. She was not even nervous. She just stood there, waiting. Finally, the first Volari laughed. Not worth our time. Come on, let us go eat. They turned and left the training room. Yuna let out a slow breath. She returned to her practice. Later that night, she sat with Do-Yun in their room. He was reading a training manual. She was looking out the window at the stars. How long can you keep doing this? Do-Yun asked. As long as I need to. Cavell is getting worse. He wants you to fail. He wants to prove that humans do not belong here. Yuna turned to look at him. What does he know about humans? What does anyone here know? They read a file. They see our size. They measure our weight and our height and decide we are nothing. She stood up and walked to the window. On Earth, we train from childhood. We carry our own weight every single day. We fight against a gravity that would crush most of the beings in this academy. Every muscle we have, every bone in our body, has been built to survive conditions they cannot imagine. Do-Yun closed his manual. I know that. You know that. But they do not. Then I will show them. Yuna's voice was quiet but firm. When the right moment comes, I will show them exactly what an Earthborn human can do. Do-Hyun looked at her for a long time. Then he nodded. I believe you. Outside, the stars continued to shine. Earth was out there somewhere, hidden among millions of other lights. Yuna thought about her home. She thought about her family. She thought about everyone who had told her she could not do this. They were all wrong. She was not going to break. She was not going to quit. She was going to make them see. The scanner had called her a minimal threat. But scanners did not understand humans. Scanners did not know what it meant to come from Earth. Soon, everyone at this academy would learn, and Cavell would be the first. It happened on a Tuesday. The morning started like any other. Yuna woke up, dressed in her training uniform, and walked to class with Do-hyun. The purple sky was clear. The twin suns were bright. Nothing seemed different about this day, but everything was about to change. Combat class began at the usual time. About 60 students gathered in the main training hall. This was a larger group than normal. Students from different sections had been combined for a special lecture. Instructor Cavell stood at the front, his yellow eyes scanning the crowd. Yuna found a spot near the middle of the room. Do-hyun stood beside her. Other students gave them space, as usual. No one wanted to stand too close to the humans. Today, Cavell began, his deep voice filling the hall, we will discuss reaction speed. In combat, the one who reacts first usually wins. Speed is everything. He began walking through the crowd. Students stepped aside to let him pass. His tail swung behind him as he moved. Different species have different reaction speeds, he continued. The Volari can respond to an attack in 0.3 seconds. The Kathrani can do it in 0.2. My own species, the Sarathi, can react in 0.15 seconds. He stopped walking. He was standing very close to Yuna now. She could see the individual scales on his face. And humans? Cavell said, looking down at her. Humans have a reaction speed of 0.25 seconds at best. This is slow. This is weak. This is why humans will never be true warriors. The room was silent. Everyone was watching. Cavell turned to address the full group again. Reaction speed cannot be taught. It is biological. You either have it or you do not. Some species are simply better than others. He raised one clawed hand. Let me demonstrate. Yuna knew what was coming. She had seen Cavell do this before. He would attack a student without warning to test their reactions. Usually he chose students who were confident, students who thought they were fast, but today he turned toward her. Human, he said, do not move. Yuna stood still. Cavell smiled, showing his sharp teeth. I am going to show everyone how slow your species truly is. When I attack, try to block. I will move at half my normal speed. Even then, you will fail. Do-hyun stepped forward. This is not fair. She has not been trained for this exercise. Cavell's eyes moved to Do-hyun. Another human wants to speak? How brave. Perhaps you should be the demonstration instead. No, Yuna said. Her voice was calm. I will do it. Cavell laughed. Good. At least one of you has courage. He turned back to Yuna. Remember, do not move until I attack. Let us see if human reaction speed is as poor as the data suggests. The room became very quiet. 60 students watched. No one breathed. Cavell took one step back. He shifted his weight. His legs bent slightly. Yuna watched him carefully. She noticed everything, the way his tail moved, the tension in his shoulders, the slight change in his breathing. She knew what was coming. Cavell launched his kick. It was fast, faster than half speed. He had lied about that. His leg shot toward Yuna's midsection like a green blade. It was meant to knock her down. It was meant to embarrass her. It was meant to prove that humans were weak. But something unexpected happened. Yuna's hand moved. It moved faster than anyone in the room could believe. One moment her arms were at her sides. The next moment, her left hand was wrapped around Cavell's ankle. She caught his kick in midair, stopping it completely. The sound of impact echoed through the hall, flesh against scales, her small human hand holding back his powerful reptilian leg. No one moved. No one spoke. Cavell's yellow eyes went wide. He tried to pull his leg back. He pulled hard. But Yuna did not let go. Her grip was like iron. Her arm did not shake. Her body did not move. She held him there, his leg frozen in her grasp. 0.25 seconds, Yuna said quietly. That is what the data says. but data can be wrong. Cavil pulled again. Still nothing. He was using his full strength now. His face showed confusion, then anger, then something else, something that looked almost like fear. "How?" he managed to say. Yuna's dark eyes met his yellow ones. "You measured our reaction speed. You measured our size. You measured our weight. But you never measured what matters." She squeezed his ankle slightly, just enough for him to feel her strength. Cavil made a small sound of pain. "You never measured what it takes to survive on Earth," Yuna continued. "You never measured a lifetime of fighting against gravity that would break your bones. You never measured muscles built from years of carrying weight you cannot imagine." The room remained silent. Students stared with open mouths. Some of them had stepped back without realizing it. Do-hyun watched with wide eyes. A small smile appeared on his face. Yuna still held Cavil's leg. The instructor could not free himself. He was stronger than her in many ways, but in this moment, she was the one in control. "The scanner called me a minimal threat," Yuna said. "The scanner was wrong." She looked around the room at all the students who had laughed at her, all the students who had mocked her, all the students who thought she did not belong. "On Earth, we are taught to endure. We are taught to survive. We are taught that strength is not about size or speed or claws or scales. Strength is about will. Strength is about never giving up. Strength is about standing up every time you are pushed down." She turned back to Cavil. His leg was still in her hand. He had stopped trying to pull away. "I have been pushed down every day since I arrived here," Yuna said. "By you, by them, by everyone in this academy. And every day I stood up again. Do you want to know why?" Cavil did not answer. "Because I am Earthborn," Yuna said. "And that means something. It means I was built to withstand pressure. It means I was designed to carry weight. It means that when you push me, I do not break. I push back." She released his leg. Cavil stumbled backward. He caught his balance and stood there, staring at her. His yellow eyes showed many emotions: surprise, confusion, respect, fear. Yuna lowered her hand. She stood calmly in the middle of the training hall. 60 students watched her in complete silence. No one was laughing now. No one was mocking her. No one was calling her weak. For the first time since she arrived at the Galactic Combat Academy, Yuna felt like she belonged. And this was only the beginning. The silence in the training hall lasted only a few seconds. Then Cavil moved. His pride had been wounded. His authority had been challenged. In front of 60 students, a human had caught his kick and held it like it was nothing. He could not let this stand. "Lucky," Cavil growled. His voice was low and dangerous. That was luck, nothing more. Yuna said nothing. She watched him carefully. Cavil began to circle her. His tail swung aggressively behind him, his claws extended from his fingertips. "You caught me by surprise. It will not happen again." "I do not think it was luck," someone said from the crowd. It was Do-hyun. His voice was clear and strong. "I think you underestimated her." Cavil's head snapped toward Do-hyun. "Another word from you, and you will join this demonstration." "Then I will join," Do-hyun said. He stepped forward to stand beside Yuna. "If you want to test humans, test both of us." Cavil's yellow eyes narrowed, but before he could respond, Yuna spoke. "No," she said. "This is between me and the instructor. Stay back, Do-hyun." Do-hyun hesitated. Then he nodded and stepped back. Cavil turned his attention back to Yuna. He stopped circling. He faced her directly. "You want to fight me, human?" "Is that what you want? A real fight?" "I do not want to fight you," Yuna said calmly. "I want you to understand something. I want everyone here to understand something." "And what is that?" Yuna took a slow breath. "You have been teaching these students about strength, about speed, about reaction time. But you have been teaching them the wrong lessons. Cavil laughed. It was a harsh, ugly sound. A human wants to teach me about combat? You have been at this academy for 3 weeks. I have been an instructor for 15 years. And in 15 years, have you ever met a human? The question hung in the air. Cavil did not answer. You read our file? Yuna continued. You saw our size, our weight, our reaction speed, and you decided we were weak, but you never asked the most important question. She took a step toward him. Just one step, but it made Cavil tense. You never asked what kind of world would produce beings like us. Cavil's tail stopped moving. The room was completely silent. Earth is a high-gravity world, Yuna said. Do you know what that means? It means that every moment of every day, our planet tries to crush us. It means the weight that presses down on us is greater than anything you have ever felt. She took another step forward. Your moon, Serath. Its gravity is less than 1/5 of Earth's. Every movement you make here feels light to you. Easy. But for me, this academy feels like floating. I feel like I could jump and touch the ceiling. Cavil's eyes widened slightly. He had never considered this. On Earth, I trained with weights on my back, Yuna said. I ran distances that would exhaust any being here. I practiced combat forms until my muscles burned and my bones ached, and I did all of this under a gravity that would break you. She was close to him now. Very close. Close enough to see the uncertainty in his yellow eyes. Our bones are denser than yours, she said. Our muscles are stronger. Our hearts pump blood with more force. We had to evolve this way. We had no choice. Our planet demanded it. Cavil finally found his voice. If this is true, why does the scanner say you are a minimal threat? Because the scanner measures what we look like, Yuna replied. It sees a small being with soft skin and no natural weapons. It does not see what is underneath. It does not measure the steel in our bones or the fire in our hearts. She reached up and grabbed his arm. The same arm that had claws. The same arm that had struck down countless opponents. She grabbed it and twisted. Cavil gasped. He tried to resist. He tried to pull away, but her grip was unbreakable. Her leverage was perfect. She twisted again, and the massive reptilian instructor dropped to one knee. The students erupted in whispers. No one could believe what they were seeing. Their instructor, the feared Cavil, was kneeling before a human. Yuna held him there. She was not hurting him badly. She was making a point. Earth's gravity is 6 times yours, she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. 6 times. Every day of my life, I have carried 6 times the weight you carry. Every step, every breath, every heartbeat has been harder for me than it has ever been for you. She leaned closer to Cavil. We are not soft. We are compressed steel. The galaxy looked at our size and decided we were weak. But size means nothing when you come from a world that builds warriors out of necessity. Cavil looked up at her. His face showed something new. It was not anger. It was not pride. It was understanding. I did not know, he said quietly. No one knows, Yuna replied. Humans are new to the galaxy. We have only been part of the Alliance for 5 years. Other species see us and assume we are nothing. They laugh at us. They mock us. They treat us like we do not belong. She released his arm. Cavil remained on one knee for a moment, then slowly stood. I came to this academy to learn, Yuna said. But I also came to teach. I came to show the galaxy what humans really are. We are survivors. We are fighters. We are the children of a heavy world. And that world made us strong. She turned to look at the other students. They stared back at her with different eyes now. The mockery was gone. The laughter was gone. Only respect remained. If anyone else wants to test human strength, Yuna said, I am here. I will face anyone in this room, one at a time or all together. I do not care, because I know something you are only now beginning to understand. She paused. The room waited. You cannot break what has already been forged in fire. Cavell stood beside her. His claws had retracted. His tail hung still. He looked at Yuna with new eyes. I owe you an apology, he said. His voice was different now, softer, more respectful. I judged you without understanding. I treated you poorly based on ignorance. Yuna nodded. Apology accepted. But the apology should go to all humans. Not just me. You are right. Cavell turned to address the class. His students looked back at him uncertainly. What I taught you about humans was wrong. I based my lessons on incomplete data and foolish assumptions. From now on, humans will be treated with the same respect as any other species in this academy. He looked at Yuna one more time. You have taught me something today, Earthborn. I will not forget it. Yuna allowed herself a small smile. Good. In the back of the room, Do-Yun was grinning. The other students around him were quiet, still processing what they had witnessed. The galaxy had underestimated humanity. After today, they would not make that mistake again. The training hall remained quiet as Yuna turned away from Instructor Cavell. She walked back toward her place in the crowd. The other students moved aside to let her pass. Their eyes followed her, but no one spoke. No one dared. Halfway to her spot, Yuna stopped walking. She stood still, facing away from Cavell and the rest of the class. The twin suns shone through the high windows, casting long shadows across the floor. Without turning around, she spoke. Her voice was calm and clear. It carried through the entire hall. And don't forget it. 4 words, simple words, but they hit the room like a physical force. Cavell stood at the front of the hall. He heard the words, and he nodded slowly. He would not forget. None of them would. Yuna continued walking. She reached Do-Yun's side and stopped. He was still smiling, but there were tears in his eyes. Happy tears. Proud tears. That was incredible, he whispered. That was necessary, she replied. The class ended early that day. Cavell dismissed everyone without another word. Students filed out of the training hall in silence. Many of them looked at Yuna as they passed. Some nodded with respect. Some bowed slightly. A few even said quiet words of appreciation. That was brave, a Valeri student said. The same species that had threatened Yuna in the training room weeks ago. I was wrong about you. About your kind. Yuna accepted the words with grace. We all have things to learn. The Valeri nodded and walked away. As the hall emptied, something strange happened. The scanner by the main entrance activated. It made a sound that no one had heard before. A low humming noise followed by a series of beeps. A few students stopped to look. Yuna and Do-Hyun were among them. The scanner's display flickered. Words appeared on its screen. The same screen that had declared Yuna a minimal threat 3 weeks ago. Species, update in progress. Recalculating parameters. Human, Earth origin, new data incorporated. The display flickered again. Then new words appeared. Threat level, unclassified. Students gathered around the scanner, staring at the screen. Unclassified. That was a designation reserved for beings whose threat level could not be determined. It was used for ancient species, unknown creatures, and beings of extraordinary power. No one had ever seen it applied to a species as new as humans. Unclassified, one student said with disbelief. The scanner changed its assessment. How is that possible? Another asked. Scanners do not change their ratings based on one incident. But Yuna understood. The scanner was connected to the Academy's central computer. That computer recorded everything that happened in the training halls. It had recorded her catching Cavell's kick. It had recorded her forcing him to his knees. It had recorded her words about Earth's gravity. The computer had updated its understanding of humans, and it had decided that it could no longer classify them. Yuna smiled quietly. She did not say anything. She simply walked past the scanner and out of the training hall. News spread quickly through the academy. By dinner time, everyone knew what had happened. The human who caught Instructor Cavill's kick, the human who forced a reptilian warrior to kneel, the human who made the scanner change its assessment. Yuna's name was on everyone's lips. In the dining hall that evening, something remarkable happened. When Yuna and Do-hyun entered, the room fell silent. Then, slowly, students began to stand. One by one, they rose from their seats. Different species, different worlds, different backgrounds, all standing for the two humans. It was a gesture of respect. In the Academy's long history, it had never been given to humans before. Yuna stopped walking. She looked around at all the faces watching her. She saw respect where there had once been mockery. She saw admiration where there had once been contempt. She nodded once, accepting the gesture. Then she walked to a table and sat down. Do-hyun sat beside her. For the first time since arriving, other students approached their table. They asked if they could sit with the humans. They asked questions about Earth. They wanted to know more about the high-gravity world that produced such strong beings. Yuna answered their questions patiently. She told them about Earth's oceans and mountains, about the storms and earthquakes, about the challenges of life on a world that constantly tried to push you down. "How do you survive?" a young student asked. She was from a species with delicate wings. "How do your children grow up under such pressure?" "We adapt," Yuna said. "We grow stronger. We learn that every challenge is an opportunity to become better. On Earth, weakness means death. So we eliminated weakness from our nature." The winged student looked at Yuna with wonder. "Your planet sounds terrifying." "It is beautiful," Yuna replied. "But yes, it is also hard. That hardness shaped us, made us who we are." Later that night, Yuna stood alone on a balcony overlooking the academy. The purple sky was filled with stars. Somewhere among them was her home. Do-hyun found her there. He stood beside her in silence for a moment, looking at the same stars. "What happens now?" he asked. "Now we train," Yuna said. "Now we learn everything this academy can teach us, and when we graduate, we go back to the galaxy and show them what we learned." "They will never underestimate humans again." Yuna shook her head. "Some will. There will always be those who see our size and assume we are nothing. But word will spread, stories will travel, and slowly the galaxy will learn the truth." She looked at her hands, small hands, human hands, hands that had held a warrior's kick and forced him to his knees. "We are not the biggest species in the galaxy," she said. "We are not the fastest or the oldest or the most advanced, but we are strong in ways that matter. We endure, we adapt, we never give up." She turned to Do-hyun. "That is what it means to be Earthborn. That is what the galaxy needs to understand. We were not born into an easy world. We were born into a crucible. And the crucible made us into something they never expected." Do-hyun nodded. "Compressed steel." Yuna smiled. "Exactly." Below them, the academy continued its evening routines. Students trained and studied and prepared for their futures. But things were different now. The humans were no longer outsiders. They were no longer jokes. They were respected. Yuna looked up at the stars one more time. She thought about her family back on Earth. She thought about all the humans who would come after her. Other students, other soldiers, other explorers who would venture into the galaxy and face the same doubts she had faced. They would have an easier path now, because of today. The scanner had called her a minimal threat. Now it could not classify her at all. That was just the beginning. She whispered to the stars, knowing they could not hear her, but saying the words anyway. "We are Earthborn, and we are here to stay." No one would forget it. Not ever.